Hello, Reporter Room investigators. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. My job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects and show you how to do the same thing. Everything I'm sharing with you is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. So please do your own research and don't send any negativity to anyone. Please subscribe. And smash the like button. Give this video a thumbs up. And come on in, you guys. Oh my gosh. This is a so this is a dumpster fire that definitely needs to be discussed. Last night, um, Trish from Websleuths was interviewing one of the private investigators that was hired by Seth Rogers. Chris Proudfoot comes in, then Gray Hughes comes in, and then Seth Rogers comes in. So we have a lot of stuff to unpack. So come on in. Please share this on your socials. I decided to go live kind of last minute because I was trying to go through everything, and going through everything. Oof. Took me a while. It took me a while to go through everything. All right, so let's get started right away. I'm not on camera today because I was literally going through the interview, which is it's 3 hours long. We're not going to watch it all. I've linked Trisha's Web Sleuth channel below. But I do want to just thank you guys for being here today. So, oh my gosh. So we learned so much on this that I just wanted to go through everything and make sure I didn't miss anything. So we learned starting off that the Proudfoot home has been searched over a dozen times, including using a heat-seeking device. This is according to Chloe. Now, there are two private investigators that are working for Seth. One is named Chloe. One is named Heather. Now, Chloe starts out doing the interview in the chat with Trisha and from Websleuths, and then Chris Proudfoot comes into it, and then the other private investigator, Heather, comes into it, and then Seth Rogers comes into it. So, and Gray Hughes is in there too. Okay, so much stuff to unpack. We know that learned that luminol has not been used, according to Chloe's knowledge. No hits by cadaver dogs. The private investigator thought that Chris Proudfoot did take a polygraph. He confirms it with TBI, and he says that he passed. We learned that. And we're going to go through this interview. The sheriff is refusing to turn over the missing persons report. Now, Chloe says this is not typical. I'm just going to catch you up kind of to where we're going to start, which is 30 minutes in. She says this is not typical, that she's never had this happen before. Now, she said Sebastian would not necessarily have been picked up on any of the cameras in his neighborhood if he headed in a certain direction, due to the fact that the subdivision is so densely wooded. She also said it's very tough to search the wooded areas around the neighborhood where the Proudfoots live in daylight, and even more difficult at night. So, according to Katie Proudfoot's timeline, Sebastian disappeared in the night. She discovered that he was gone at 6 a.m. She put him to bed at 9 p.m. She heard a thud at 10 p.m. So, according to Katie Proudfoot, the timeline is between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So, it definitely would have been dark outside. So, this could be why Sebastian could have gotten out of the house. But why would he have left without his shoes, without his coat, without a cell phone? Well, let's dig into all of that. So Chloe shares that there's a vetted source. This is about 31 minutes into the interview. We're going to start there. And she admits that the vetted source, who admitted on tape that Chris Proudfoot had discussed leaving Katie Proudfoot. So is this what triggered Chris Proudfoot? I don't know. But let's watch this together. Let me make sure you guys can hear it. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you can
comment on that at all.
Yes, we have a vetted source close to the Proudfoots that has claimed on recording that he had conversations with Chris about him leaving Katie. Not since Sebastian's been missing, but previously.
Before.
Yes.
Before. And that's important because, and again, I'm not suggesting this is true, but you have to look at everything. You know, I'm telling you, the police would look at it like, well, is that a reason? Did something happen?
Well, and that's what Heather was talking about the other night on News Nation, is we've been kind of like brainstorming this domino effect of like, okay, he went missing February 26th, but there was a lot going on.
Right.
The 3 months prior to that, a lot.
Okay, so the one who's talking in the bottom center, that's Chloe. She's one of the private investigators. The other two on the top, one is Trisha. She's in the blue top. And the other one, I think, helps her moderate. I don't know her name. I feel so bad I don't know her name. But Trisha's Websleuths Lives, I've been subscribed to her. She's one of the reasons I became a YouTuber. She's awesome. If you haven't subscribed to her, please do. I've linked her channel in the description below. So she did a great job on this interview. We're going to be jumping around though. So just forewarning, we're going to be hopping around on this interview.
And we're trying to just timeline all of that out to see what the catalyst was, you know.
Well, and like Julie here, the comment says, the other PI, that's Heather, said in a previous interview there was turmoil at home. Can you comment on any of the turmoil? I mean, we've heard Chris talk about it, and we've heard Seth talk about it, about Chris didn't want Sebastian around his younger daughter.
Right.
And that was a big problem.
Right.
So I'm wondering if this is what triggered Chris Proudfoot, right? Anyway, let's listen in, because let me just share one thing though. Okay, so this is PI Chloe. She says that there were multiple CPS calls, multiple plural, and she's confirmed that these did occur. She also said that the scent dogs dove into that retention pond that they drained. PI Chloe also confirms that there are security cameras in the school that would have caught Katie on camera looking for Sebastian, but she has never personally seen the footage. So we're going to be hopping around. So we're going to just hop forward here to about 38 minutes in. All right. So I've watched all of this and I wanted to make sure I could get through all of it before I promised to go live. So for those of you who are like shocked I'm going live, like NJAZ, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to go live. I was going to do it tomorrow, but when I got done, I just decided, let me just deal with it now. Let's just get into this. So at around 38 minutes, they start talking hypothetically about the security cameras. And Trish says, hypothetically, let's just say that Sebastian is not on any cameras anywhere leaving the house. She talks about there being at least 11 cameras in the neighborhood, 11. So Trish wants to know, does this mean that Sebastian did not make it home from the Texas Roadhouse that night? And Chloe responds by saying that she thinks it's possible that he did make it home and still was not picked on security cameras in the timeline that Katie Proudfoot gave because it was dark. She also believes, as do I, that this was not a planned runaway because he didn't have shoes on and that something triggered him to leave the house. Listen to this, you guys. So we're going to be jumping around.
We don't know how in the hell he got out of the house because he's nowhere on camera, but yet he's on camera earlier taking out the garbage. So he's on a camera somewhere. So why isn't he on a camera when he left?
I think the sun went down on the 25th at like 5:40 something. It was before the time change. So it was getting dark.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been told by the sheriff's department was it was around 6:30 when they saw it. I think the Proudfoot say 7. That's kind of semantics to me, but so it was getting dark for sure. I don't know that it was like pitch black at that point. I don't know if it was like midnight dark, you know.
But shouldn't these cameras, I mean, I have a little cheapo one here. It is infrared. I can see everybody at night. You know, you would think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chloe, but you would think that there would be a spotting of Sebastian on one of these 11 cameras that you have mapped out, and there are probably more.
Yeah.
And as far as you know, there are no sightings of him.
Right.
So let's say hypothetically, let's say that is correct. Okay, that there's no mistake, that He wasn't able to escape a camera and duck out of a camera. Let's just say that's correct, that Sebastian is not on a camera anywhere, leaving the house in the neighborhood. That means he is either still in the house somewhere, or he never made it home Saturday. But
I'll be honest with you. I think
Sunday.
he still could have left the house.
You do?
And
not get on camera?
I do.
How come?
It's just a feeling, honestly. I mean, and being in that area and knowing my cameras, and I just there are places where he could have avoided them, and I don't even know that he would have done it on purpose.
Right.
But
it could have just happened.
Yeah,
could have just happened. So,
okay, so she's not ruling out that he could have run away. This was my speculation also, that I felt like maybe it was okay. Tell me, come on in, guys, bring your comments. Tell me where your thumb. Let me just say hello to chat. This is social media. Yeah, I'm glad you're watching. Thank you for joining me. This is our head mod, Jazz. Our other head mod is Sixth Sense Amelia. I know I saw her in here. There she is. All civilly and respectfully expressed theories and opinions are welcome. We want to keep the chat classy. So if you guys aren't being classy, the moderators are going to have to time you out. We don't want to do that. So just, let's just keep it classy. Watch your words. No all caps. Keep it classy and family friendly in the chat. Okay, so you guys can hear it. I'm so glad. Hey, Holly. Addis is here. She said Chris stated that he knew for a fact that Sebastian went out the front door. How could he know that if he wasn't at home? Well, he explains that. He explains that when he didn't hear a thud. Let's get through this together. I know some of you guys have seen some part, maybe all of the interview, but we're going to go through this together. We haven't watched this together as a Reporter Room family. Good to see you guys. I'm glad you're here. Come on in. Please share this on your socials. I didn't intentionally. I shared it on Twitter and on Facebook, but only in my group on Facebook. And that's because I just didn't want to have all the drama mongers in the chat. I wanted to have just a chat with, with my people. Yeah, we're doing it right now, Mike. I'm sorry. I wasn't going to go live today, but I just felt like I wanted to do that. So, okay, so let's talk about the next little part. And I just kind of want to see. Okay, so let's talk about the next little part on this. All right, so this is Chloe. The PI Chloe does not think that he does, she thinks that he did make it home, and she thinks that he could have easily gotten out of the house without triggering any of the cameras, because he was wearing all black, right? Black shirt, black pants, and it was dark outside in the timeline. So so she describes that Chris and Seth were working together, but there's a lot of feelings, and boy, we're going to see those feelings in just a minute, because Chris enters the chat and he is hot, and Seth comes in and he is hot too. Let's go ahead and hop over a little bit ahead. I'm going to be jumping around today. That's why I didn't want to get on camera, because one, I didn't want to have to worry about makeup, but two, I'm also hopping around. Okay, so, and this way I don't have to look at the camera. All right, here we go.
Water under the bridge. I mean, obviously, like I think they're doing their best.
So you can tell she's trying to like smooth things over between Seth and Chris Proudfoot, but that is not what happens next. Oh my gosh. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm just like shocked. And Trish from Websleuths Live, props to her. She did such a great job with a very, very difficult interview.
Right. I'm not saying it's easy.
Right.
There's a lot of feelings.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. So, hold on, let me grab this here really quickly. You mentioned something earlier today about bringing in Q, C-U-E. What is Q?
It is a missing persons like SAR organization that's kind of up there with EquiSearch. They can provide massive resources with ATVs, drones, dogs, foot search, boats, divers, which, you know, we've brought in some of that, but not on the mass scale that we would like to. So we are in the works of bringing them in because they're, I mean, we have an incredible group of volunteers that, I mean, over probably a dozen of them have been with us for over a month.
Okay, so just to recap, because we're going to be hopping around today, PI Chloe shares that Sebastian was out taking the trash. This is according to the sheriff's office. So Seth said he could not 100% say it was Sebastian, but the PIs are saying that it is Sebastian. They think it is Sebastian taking out the trash. So they're going to bring in Q, which is similar to EquiSearch. They're going to bring in drones, dogs, divers to do a massive scale search. Remember, it's very wooded terrain around this neighborhood. So PI Chloe also says she believes that Sebastian did walk out of the house. Now she has two theories that she thinks are possible. And I'm just going to go over this and then we're jumping into Chris Proudfoot. I just want you guys to kind of be in the know. So she thinks that it's really there. She's only down to two theories. She believes that either Sebastian snuck out of the house in the middle of the night and it was not planned. And this could mean that Sebastian is very close to home. And her second theory is foul play. Now, she didn't elaborate at this point on what that meant, but PI Chloe also shared that Sumner County Sheriff's Office told her that they had no police reports about any type of threats toward any organization. So we had heard people were pulling out, and she said that they didn't file a police report. This doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just means they didn't file a police report about it. She also elaborates that neither she or the other private investigator, Heather, have been followed or had any issues with anybody. She also said that she does not know if the dogs have been inside Chris Proudfoot's RV or not, and she does not know if the Bowerstocks have been contacted, but she said they have not contacted either Heather, which is the other PI, or her. So now we're going to just hop ahead to where Chris Proudfoot enters coming in hot.
I don't consider that like a safety issue.
So that could be a bit of malarkey then.
A little bit of malarkey. Yeah. I like that word.
Very interesting. Because, yeah, I heard somebody talking about it, and it was somebody that I thought was legitimately saying what happened to them. But if there's no police reports, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I honestly, I can't say with 100% certainty that people haven't been threatened. I have not found any evidence of it and haven't had time to focus on that. You know, if you don't feel comfortable searching, don't.
Yeah. Now, has Seth ever said he's been followed before? Do you know?
So this is where they're talking about people pulling out because they said that they've had, issues with people bothering them, harassing them. They were worried about their safety, that kind of stuff. And she's just addressing these questions about that. So let's listen in because Seth is about to enter the chat. I'm sorry, Chris is about to enter the chat. Chris Proudfoot.
Oh,
he has.
Okay. And what about Chris's parents, Chris Proudfoot's parents? A lot of people are very kind of upset that they went to Alaska.
It's bizarre.
Do you know if the police have looked into why they all of a sudden went to Alaska?
I don't know that police have looked into that. I know that tips have been passed on to Sumner County and TBI. Not necessarily about them leaving,
right?
But hopefully that is all being vetted in some way.
Somebody asked a question about, was it prescriptions? I missed it. And then somebody said, oh, that's a great question. I'm like, what was it?
I didn't see it.
It was, if somebody could repeat that, please, because I meant to catch it.
I'm just going to hop forward a little bit.
Questions.
Yeah, I feel like some of it is like, does this help me find him?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, Yeah.
But the thing, I think,
Okay, here we go.
Trish,
I'm sorry, what?
there's somebody backstage.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Coming.
And we ask everybody to be respectful to the
Yes.
host and the guests on our show.
No,
or we
no,
will have to
no
remove
crappy
you.
comments, please. Okay.
Right.
No
This is
crappy.
about a missing child,
Right.
and that's all that matters.
And we will always be polite to our guests.
Yeah.
Okay. So who do we have here? Who do we have here? I've put you on the platform.
You have me, Chris.
Hi, Chris Proudfoot.
Hello.
I really appreciate you coming here. I'm going to change the banner really quickly so everybody knows it's you. But I don't know how long you've been listening.
Long enough.
Okay, you sound angry. Talk to me.
Oh,
What?
I'm very.
Talk to me. We don't want to get you. The last thing we want to do, Chris, is cause problems between you and Seth. I swear to God.
Well,
So
I understand that, but let me help you with something.
Okay.
Okay, a lot of the information that I've been listening to on your show, coming from Chloe, the questions that are coming through people, it's very sickening and disgusting, to be personally honest with you.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
So let me go ahead and address a few things and help y'all out.
Okay.
Because Chloe, you're the PI. I haven't had a chance to talk to you. You haven't even called me. You ain't done anything. First off,
Heather has been in
Heather is
communication.
the only one. Heather is the only one who has reached out to me or to my wife.
I
So for you to
actually
sit
reached
on this
out to
show
you,
and sit
a
here
month
and
or
give
so ago.
information that you have, that you don't have all the answers to, is a problem.
Okay. Well, Chris, help us understand, because I know Chloe, and Chloe wants to help. And the last thing Chloe would do is want to put out misinformation. And the problem
okay,
is,
I understand that. So let me just smash something real quick.
okay.
Okay, first and foremost, anything that goes on between me and my wife is not a damn bit of anybody's personal business. I don't care what you think. I don't care what y'all got to say. That'd be like me splashing all your business out to the world.
Okay.
It does not matter what goes on in my house. We're looking for my son.
So I'm going to push back a little bit there. I think it does matter what's going on in the house, because if Sebastian did run away, what was going on in the house leading up to this? I think what was happening in that phone call between him and Katie is also pertinent to know what happened and where Sebastian might have gone or tried to go. Maybe he didn't make it that day.
That's real simple.
Your stepson, right?
It doesn't matter. Stepson, my son. All the kids are treated as if they your own. There is no title, a stepson, a son. It does not matter. That boy is loved by me just like he is my own. Just like he's my own.
Okay, Chris, may I ask you something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've been doing this for a long time, and let me tell you why people are asking personal questions about you and your wife. Okay, it's because of the situation in which Sebastian has gone missing, and they're wondering if whatever happened between you and your wife, does it have something to do with Sebastian going missing? I swear to you, it's not to be nosy. It's not to be rude. It's just trying to figure out what happened to Sebastian. And
okay, so let me make this even crystal clear for you.
Okay.
And everybody out there that's got all these negativity, disgusting comments and questions that y'all think you know anything about, when honestly you don't know a damn thing. And that's the problem. You assume, you speculate, all this crap. You have no idea what me, my family, my wife, everybody involved is going through, to include Seth, his mom, and everybody else.
So he is hopped up and mad. I think he comes in really hot, and he's referring to Sebastian as that boy instead of this boy, which in my opinion is a little bit of distancing language. Now he does claim Sebastian to be his son, But in hearing how enraged he sounds, I'm just wondering what it was like for Sebastian in the house underneath the authority of Chris Proudfoot. I think Trisha stays really classy through all of this, and she does a great job of just trying to continue this interview and, try to hear Chris Proudfoot's point of view and why he's so upset.
Okay.
Because it's the vile, disgusting crap that comes out of people's mouth. Yes, I'm a very pissed off stepfather to this whole situation.
Okay. And I understand, and I hear what you're saying. But again.
So let me help y'all with something. 'Cause
Okay.
y'all said some shit that's really, it's really none of your damn business. But since you brought it up, I'm clearing.
Okay.
My parents didn't go to Alaska 2 days after he went missing.
I don't think
Why my
anybody said
parents
that.
went to Alaska was
That is
because
not-
my stepfather went for work.
Okay. Nobody said they went 2 days after he went missing.
Oh, no,
They
it's
said-
out there. Trust me, because I have
Okay, I
terabytes.
did not say that.
Nobody
I didn't say
said that
you.
here.
I
Okay.
said people.
Okay.
Now, I have terabytes of videos of Seth on here saying some vile stuff. I've got videos of everybody and their comments out here.
But
Trust me, what I'm bringing to you is not that I'm just pulling stuff out of the air.
I understand. No. And Chris, I'm glad you cleared that up. That's a
So,
good.
and by the way, they didn't go for a month.
Okay.
They went for 2 weeks. My stepdad went on business.
Okay, so that answers the question. I've seen that coming up quite a few times about people wanting to know about Chris Proudfoot's parents. So he, does clear up the fact that they were just, this sounds like it was a planned trip. He also goes on to say that he does not own a cemetery, a private plane, a private yacht, and is really frustrated with some of the nonsense that's being spread around social media. And if you're interested in fact-based crime groups, I run one on Facebook. You can type in Reporter Room and Sebastian Rogers. And we really try to do a really good job moderating it to provide you guys with credible information. So Heather's the other private investigator, and she's going to join the chat in just a second. And then Seth comes in and Chris Proudfoot goes off on him.
Mom went with him, but it's really nobody's business.
Well, but Chris, let me, and please understand, I swear to God, I'm coming from a place of understanding because I've been doing this for years. Okay. Here's the thing. When you ask the public for help, they're going to look at everything and try and figure out what happened to Sebastian. And let me tell, from an outsider looking in, it's okay. His parents left town shortly after. Was there a reason? Did they take Sebastian with him? It is speculation. That I am sorry it's hurtful to you, and I understand it. And that's why it's important that you clear it up. Just clear it up. Nobody's trying to be hurtful or mean. I promise you, we've all been asked to help find Sebastian. And this is what we do. We try and think outside the box. We try and ask questions and think outside the box and figure out what has gone on.
So that really is all we're doing. And this video has already been demonetized. So for everybody who comes in saying YouTubers are just doing this for money, every live stream I've done on this topic has been demonetized. So this is not for the money. This is because we care about Sebastian. Robin says, I don't believe he walked off. Piper's mom says, leave the Proudfoots alone. Focus on Sebastian. Well, I'm focusing on this interview. So if you don't want to discuss the interview, then don't watch. Nobody's making you be here. You don't have to be here. It's fine if you don't want to be here. You won't hurt my feelings. I'm okay with that. There's the link for the Facebook group. DM says, please restate the two ladies in the top row. Okay, so the one in the top upper left in the blue shirt with the cross, that's Trisha. She's the owner of Websleuths, which is a it's a websleuths.com, and she also has a YouTube channel. And then the woman sitting next to her, I don't remember her name, but she does a lot of the moderating, so she's online moderating this chat. And then the one in the lower right hand corner, that is private investigator Chloe. And in a few minutes, you're going to hear from private investigator Heather. So I hope that clears it up. But there's a lot of good information. Hey, good to see you. So just keep it classy. And just watch your words, y'all. Just keep it classy in the chat. I would run away from those people fast. I just don't think he did. All right. Well, I'm wondering, see, that was my theory on this, is if maybe the situation in the house had become uncomfortable for Sebastian. And there's more information coming that may shed some more, that is going to shed some more light on this. He answers a whole bunch of questions. So let's dig into this. And so do the two private investigators. So let's dig into this.
It is
Your
not
problem with
meant-
thinking outside of the box does nothing but cause speculation. It causes people to call in tips that don't mean anything, that you're taking sources away from the investigation because Joe Schmo down the street thinks that my family owns a cemetery. We own a funeral home. Like, where in the hell do you get up with this stuff? And
Okay.
not you.
So they don't own a cemetery. They don't own a funeral home. Chris Proudfoot wants you to know that. I'm not sure why he couldn't have said it in a nicer inside voice, but this may be why Sebastian felt uncomfortable in the house. I don't know. This is just my opinion.
I'm saying the public.
And so Chris, that's why it is great that you're here, because we want to clear this up and help you get it out. And I'm going to tell you something, Chris, when it comes to the general public, they're always going to be calling in crazy tips and doing crappy things. And all we can do is say, that's not us. We are not doing that.
Well,
But
It doesn't
and
matter,
I
though.
did want to clear
That
it
does
up.
not
Chris.
matter.
I
Doesn't
did
matter
want to clear it
one
up,
iota.
Chris. I
Chris?
did reach out to you on March 17th, publicly and privately. You responded to me publicly. You asked me to ask my question publicly. I did. You didn't respond. I reached out to you privately again. So I have reached out to you.
Where in the public? Where?
So she says he said the reason she's saying this, the reason that a private investigator Chloe is saying that she reached out to him publicly is a few minutes ago, he accused her of not reaching out to him publicly. And she's just saying that's just simply not the case.
I reached out to you on Facebook. I reached out to you on Facebook Messenger privately. You've never read my message.
Well, don't take this the wrong way, but a lot of the bullshit that I get in Facebook.
No, that's fine. That's
I'm
fine.
not-
I just want to make
Yeah.
it clear that
Can I explain to you?
Yeah.
You send me messages along with thousands of other people.
I understand that. And that's why I took it public. And you did respond to me and ask me to ask my question publicly because you wanted whatever answer you were going to give to be public to clear it up.
What was the question that you asked me? Since I neglected your question.
And
what
that's not
was
what
your
I'm
question?
saying. That's not what I'm saying.
So that's what I would call a straw man argument. She never said that he neglected her question. He said she never reached out to him. She was simply clarifying that yes, she had twice. She didn't get that he responded to her and then didn't respond to her. So that's all she was trying to say. But he's putting up a straw man argument, in my opinion.
I want to make it clear that I haven't not tried to reach out to you.
And Chris, I know you're mad. I can feel it. I can hear it, and I understand it.
And remember, he knows he's doing all of this publicly. He knows he's on camera. Well, he's not. His face isn't, and the other face, little head that you see popped up there, that's going to be Heather, the other PI. You're going to find that out in a couple minutes. But the anger that he's willing to do in front of all of us, that he doesn't seem to think there's an issue, it just makes me wonder what goes on behind closed doors. I'm not saying anything, but I just do feel concerned about that. And what kind of an environment was Sebastian in at home? Did he run away?
You've got to believe me when I tell you this. Please, if you can dial it back a bit and get us some of these answers and let us help you clear up this bull so it doesn't interfere anymore. And like I said, you're always going to have crazy people interfering and coming up with rumors, and it's so maddening and frustrating, and I hate it. It pisses me off more than anything, and anybody that knows me knows
It
that.
pisses you off? You're not in our shoes.
I know.
You haven't been in our shoes.
Oh my gosh. You could just see her body language says all of it. It just says it all.
To make it clear
Can I explain to you?
Yeah.
You send me messages along with thousands of other people.
I understand that. And that's why I took it public. And you did respond to me and asked me to ask my question publicly because you wanted whatever answer you were going to give to be public to clear it up.
What was the question that you asked me? Since I neglected your question.
The hat belonged to a searcher. And what was the other question? The footprints in the retention pond, but they're going to talk about that in just a second. So come on in, you guys, give this a thumbs up. Let YouTube know we're not doing anything nefarious here. We're just trying to watch the interview. Let's continue on, shall we?
And
What
that's not
was
what
your
I'm
question?
saying. That's not what I'm saying. I want to make it clear that I haven't not tried to reach out to you.
And Chris, I know you're mad. God, I can feel it. I can hear it, and I understand it. You've got to believe me when I tell you this. Please, if you can dial it back a bit and get us some of these answers and let us help you clear up this bull so it doesn't interfere anymore. And like I said, you're always going to have crazy people interfering and coming up with rumors, and it's so maddening and frustrating, and I hate it. It pisses me off more than anything, and anybody that knows me knows
It
that.
pisses you off? You're not in our shoes.
I know.
You haven't been in our shoes.
Okay, well, you don't know that, but I haven't been in your shoes and missing a child, no. But believe me, I can understand what you're going through, and what I'm saying is we can help you, Chris.
She's had a YouTube channel for a really long time. She's repeatedly offering to help him, and he just can't get out of his own way.
We can help you, all right? Anybody here in this chat that asked about a cemetery, it's because somebody else brought it up. Just tell us.
Exactly. And my question comes back to, where do these people come up with this crazy crap?
That's $1 million question. I don't know.
Yeah, online.
Let's clear it up. Let's clear it up for you. Let us help you.
You're saying, I believe, Chloe, you're saying online. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm sorry, I said that. There's a lot of
Stacy.
crazy people online, and just to let you know, I understand you get a lot of messages. I reached out to you when Sebastian first went missing too, to see if we could help in any way. Oh.
Yeah, but Chris, I understand your anger, but I'm telling you, please let us help you, okay? We're not here to point fingers at you or whatever, but the problem is, and this is what we were talking about earlier, Chris, when the public is asked to help and then no information is provided, then people, because of social media, and social media is here to stay, unfortunately, this never used to be a problem, never, until social media, and it's terrible. I will be the first one to admit it's terrible.
So they kind of go back and forth here. I'm not going to stay on all of this. She does really try, because Chris goes off on this diatribe about how evil everybody on social media is. But most of us have just been trying to find out what happened to Sebastian, trying to get his name and image out there. So I'm going to move forward a little bit on the interview, because she does manage to refocus him, and we do get some actual answers to our questions. So let's skip forward here a little bit. I have linked this interview in the section below if you want to watch it in its entirety. I'm going to take you guys through some of the things that really help answer some of the questions that I've been seeing from you guys in the comments section.
Completely free, and the website is as well.
No advertising.
Okay, so just who is who in the upper, then when you're facing your TV in your upper left, that's the owner of Websleuths Lives. That's Trisha. In the middle is the person I think who does all her moderation. On the right with the globe, the earth on the top is Chloe, the private investigator. With the wings in your lower left, that's Heather, the other private investigator. And the one without the photo is Chris Proudfoot. And Seth is going to enter in a few minutes.
So the reason why I'm asking that question, okay, is because if people are true to what they say in their heart, especially those, and they know who I'm talking about, the clickers, the shows that make this money, I would love for you to make a public announcement for every dollar you've made. If you truly do this for the goodness of your heart, every dollar that you have made, you should donate it to the cause. not to your personal gain.
Right.
Well, yeah, we don't, like I
But-
said, we make
Yeah,
zero
we don't
money. It
make
costs
money.
us money to
And
do
I
that.
appreciate it and I respect
Yeah.
that. Thank y'all ladies for that. I will give you.
And just to be clear, most of us are getting demonetized on this. I think there's a few that aren't, but I think a lot of us are getting demonetized every time we cover this case. Probably getting flagged by, I don't know who, but
Yeah.
I can
So,
guess.
But no, I understand.
So let's skip forward a little bit.
We had something to go off of,
So
but we
Chris,
don't.
I asked Seth this a few weeks ago, and
Mhm.
so just no
I'm gonna
thought
hear you out.
in your gut, spit it out. Doesn't matter if
So I was trying to figure out who was clapping his hands. It's Chris. I figured it out after watching into the interview. So you're hearing like this clapping of him just emphasizing, and you could just hear, in my opinion, you can hear the rage.
It doesn't help find Sebastian. And that's where we all need to get on the same page and regroup and just make the decision right here, right now, to ignore the rumors, to clear up misinformation, and just to get on track so that we can start trying to find Sebastian.
Now,
Right. If we can keep parties involved in this investigation focused on that and staying off of YouTube and other aspects of social media and playing the game, okay,
Yes.
I'm sure we would all benefit greatly, and this would completely change narratives and the direction, and it would straight focus completely on Sebastian.
Well, let's do this. This podcast or Websleuths podcast that we're on right now, we can make a pact right now. That's what we're doing right here, right?
But here's the other thing. I appreciate you want to make that pact, but you know exactly who I'm referring to. That needs to be done publicly as well then.
well, all we can do is what we can do here
True.
tonight. So,
Right.
but Chris, there's a couple of questions, and then there is somebody.
Fire
That
away.
there is somebody that wants to come on the panel, and I don't know if you want them on here, but
Who is
I'll
it?
ask. Well, let me ask you these questions first, okay?
It's Gray Hughes, but she's worried he's not going to want Gray to come up. But he actually likes Gray, so he settles down a little bit when Gray comes up onto the panel. And then he goes off the rails again. Okay. Trish is doing a really good job holding it together. Her chat's going crazy. I'm sure this is not, she thought she was just interviewing Chloe, the PI. She didn't know this was all going to happen. So credit to her. She's doing a great job holding it together.
Everybody wants to know, what do you think happened to Sebastian? What do you think happened?
I don't know. For the love of God, I wished I had an answer. I wished we had something to go off of,
so
but we
Chris,
don't.
I asked Seth this a few weeks ago, and
Mhm.
so just no
I'm gonna
thought
hear you out.
in your gut, spit it out. Doesn't matter if
You hear that clapping in the back? That's him. He's that agitated. He's clapping. He's going to hear her out.
Benefit greatly, and this would completely change narratives and the direction, and it would straight focus completely on Sebastian.
Well, let's do this. This podcast or Websleuths podcast that we're on right now, we can make a pact right now. That's what we're doing right here, right?
But here's the other thing. I appreciate you want to make that pact, but you know exactly who I'm referring to. That needs to be done publicly as well then.
Well, all we can do is what we can do here
True.
tonight. So,
Right.
but Chris, there's a couple of questions, and then there is somebody.
Fire
That
away.
wants, there is somebody that wants to come on the panel, and I don't know if you want them on here, but
Who is
I'll
it?
ask. Well, let me ask you these questions first, okay? Everybody wants to know, what do you think happened to Sebastian? What do you think happened?
I don't know. For the love of God, I wished I had an answer. I wished we had something to go off of,
so
but we
Chris,
don't.
I asked Seth this a few weeks ago, and
Mhm.
so just no
I'm gonna
thought
hear you out.
in your gut, spit it out. Doesn't matter if it sounds completely off the wall. What is your knee-jerk reaction to what happened?
Sebastian walked out of the house, stepped off the porch, and has vanished into thin air.
So stepped off the porch is new. Listen in.
That is what I think, because that is what I know.
But what do you mean, you know?
I've been part of the investigation since day one.
Okay.
And if anybody else out there that's got some information in regards to where Sebastian has went, because last time I
Right,
checked,
but
there's
are
not
you
one shred of
confirming that you know
evidence.
he walked off the porch is what I'm asking.
I'm telling you, unless this kid is just in the thin air on my front porch, he sure had to go somewhere, so he had to walk off the front porch. Now, if you're trying to insinuate somebody was in my house or
No, I'm
somebody's
not
taking that
insinuating
child outside of
anything.
my house,
No,
say
I'm not
that.
insinuating anything. I'm asking, do you know that he walked out your front door? Do you know?
That he went out the front door?
Or any door?
Is that what you're asking?
Do you know?
Yeah, that's what we're asking.
Okay.
And the private investigators just want to know what door he went out so they know where to start looking. If he went out the front door, did he go out the back door? So if Chris Proudfoot knows for a fact that he walked out the front door and was on the front porch, and he does, this is helpful to them. They know not to go looking for cameras in the backyard. You know, it helps them.
Thank you. I just need a confirmation. I don't play games here. So just to make this real crystal clear, there's a back door. Every door in the house when Katie got up that morning was locked.
Okay.
Since it's already out there, there's a keypad on the front door. You don't need a key to unlock and lock my front door.
Mm-hmm.
But you need a key to lock every other door. And every other door was locked, folks.
So it
Did,
had
did Katie do that?
Do
And he
what?
walked out. And did Katie make sure all the other doors were locked? And could have Sebastian just walked out? Could he have walked out the front door?
Every door was locked.
So what you're saying is that the only possibility is the front door. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying the most conceivable way possible that this makes sense is that he walked out the front door.
Okay.
He's so condescending. And again, he knows he's on TV. He knows he's on a YouTube channel. And the way he talks to people, it's just makes me really concerned of what goes on when he's not on TV, when there aren't other people around. What is if this is his behavior in front of all of us, and this is how he talks to these professionals who are only trying to find Sebastian, who he claims to care so much about. How is he talking behind closed doors? Did Sebastian feel supported by Chris Proudfoot, or was Chris Proudfoot's efforts to give Sebastian away to Seth Rogers? Maybe in Sebastian's mind, he was being replaced by Faith, who was Chris's daughter with Nina Gomez. Okay, so we learned something really valuable here, because Chris Proudfoot is saying you don't need a key to lock or unlock the front door. It operates on a keypad, and that's the only door that operates this way. So therefore, Chris is saying that Sebastian went out the front door. Let's listen in.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Did he walk out without his shoes on? Is that what you believe?
My statement earlier is real simple. Sebastian walked out of the house not wearing any shoes.
Could he have been running and scared of something?
Don't know. He could. It's a young boy. It's dark outside. God only knows.
Okay. Now, there is somebody that has been asking to come on, and Gray Hughes, he would like to talk to you. Would you like
You can
him?
bring that man on board, because I've talked to him. I respect him, and I will talk to him.
Gray,
So Chris Proudfoot's going to settle down here while Gray Hughes is on the panel. But I want you to see how Chris Proudfoot talks when it's only women on the panel versus when he gets a male on the panel, because Gray Hughes is going to be on for a little bit. Then he bows out again, and Chris Proudfoot goes right back to being however Chris Proudfoot is. And it just makes me wonder what was going on behind closed doors. Let me just check in with chat. Elaine says, I wish someone would tell him to speak with an inside voice. Yeah, and with the clapping and sarcastic. Ooh, thank you so much for the super sticker and Jazz. I really appreciate it. Leslie says, I would be terrified to be around him. And then Addis Perez says, Chris is angry because people are saying things about the Proudfoots because of their actions. He doesn't like not being in control. He doesn't like that people have empathy for Seth. Right. And wait till Seth comes on in a few minutes. You're going to be just gobsmacked. Gina says, I don't think creators should allow him to demand on their channels. What I think, I give props to Trish on this. She wanted to just keep him talking because she knows there's statement analysts like Peter Hyatt, like Deception Detective, those kind of people that will be able to come in behind him and analyze this. And for law enforcement, and haven't subscribed, please do. This is demonetized, just so you know. Yeah, he's very, very angry. Cheryl says, you think because you can belittle the people who care. Yeah, all we've been trying to do is help. CC says, he treats women like this and children. He's a sociopathic narcissist, in my opinion. Can even that CAT can tell. All right. And Chloe's the PI and Trish is the interviewer, just to make it clear. And I've linked the channel in the description below.
Gray, I just sent you the Facebook link, so jump on up. Okay, Gray? I just sent it to your Facebook. So he'll be jumping on here shortly. Stacy, can you keep an eye out because I can't see because of my stupid computer.
Hey,
Okay.
in the meantime,
And I'm just going to
would-
skip ahead to Gray Hughes coming in because I watch how Chris settles down.
Be on the shirt.
Still clapping his hands, but he does settle down a little bit. He gets a little nicer.
And Katie,
Sebastian was wearing when he left.
Until Gray Hughes leaves again.
are you saying there's 3 different possible shirts he was wearing? Like he had 3 different black long sleeve.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the whole shirts thing because this goes round and round and round. The shirt thing, Chris just keeps going round and round. So the shirt confusion. Okay, so Sebastian was wearing a black long sleeve shirt, not a sweatshirt, just a shirt. Black Adidas pants with I guess some kind of a 1970s style stripe on it, like they had in the 70s. And then he thinks, so Chris says that it either would have had a Star Wars or Halloween or Minecraft on the front, because those were Sebastian's favorite. And this is where they're going around right now. Chloe, the private investigator, she's in your top right hand corner. She just wants to know what he had on. She's just trying to figure it out.
Shirts. One had Halloween on it. One had Minecraft
what I'm
on
telling
it.
you,
Star Wars.
that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I said he had a long sleeve black shirt on. And on that shirt had one of 3 depictions. I didn't say he had 3. I didn't say anything. I just said 1.
Okay.
Right,
Can
I'm just confused by how have you not been able to identify which of those 3 depictions is missing?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Can you tell me every single shirt in your closet right now and everything that's on
No,
your shirt?
but if I had
Okay,
to
then.
choose between
Oh my gosh, all she's trying to do is find Sebastian. All she's trying to do is find Sebastian. And this is him.
Right, but
3
wait a
of
minute, wait a minute.
them, if
But
I
hold
had
on a
to
minute.
choose between 3 of them, I could.
You're saying 3 of them. But I'm telling
Well,
you,
you listed 3 things. I'm just confused.
I listed what could possibly be on the shirt.
Okay, can I jump in and try to interpret a little bit here? Okay, so are you saying that all 3 of those shirts are not accounted for, or are you saying you don't remember which depiction it was that was on that shirt? Does that make sense? Is that a little bit clearer?
Say it one more time, you broke up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so are you saying that you don't remember what the depiction was? It was one of those 3 things, or are you saying there are 3 different shirts with those depictions and all 3 of those shirts are unaccounted for?
I'm not saying he had 3 shirts with 3 different depictions on them. That's not what I said. I'm telling you, I don't know what exactly was on the front of the shirt. Is what I'm telling you.
Okay, so
Sebastian's clothes mostly consist of, if it has a picture on it, one of the three things. Those are his three favorite things.
Got it.
Okay, so
Halloween,
what you're saying is he has,
Minecraft.
multiple Minecraft shirts, multiple Star Wars shirts, multiple Halloween shirts. So it's likely he had a shirt that had one of those things on, but there's not just 3 of those shirts.
I'm telling you that he had a long sleeve shirt on with one of the 3 depictions on it. That's it.
Okay.
I'm not
Well,
telling you any more shirts. I'm not telling. So
I'm not
I know
trying
what
to
you're
do-
asking.
I'm just trying to understand.
I know.
I understand that, but you're asking me if he had 3 different.
And you can hear Chris Proudfoot clapping in the background. Ew. I mean, and this is his best behavior through the whole thing, you guys.
3 different long sleeve shirts with 3 different depictures on it. And
No, I
I'm
think I
telling
understand
you,
what you're explaining. Like, so Sebastian had multiple shirts that had a Minecraft graphic on it. Sebastian had multiple shirts that had Halloween. Sebastian had multiple shirts that had Star Wars. I guess maybe several of them were long sleeve and black. So you can't identify.
here, let's just make this very simple.
Okay.
He had a long sleeve black shirt on with a picture on the front of it. There
Okay.
you go.
And that obviously is what you got from Katie, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, Gray Hughes is here, and people are saying, why is Gray here? I will tell you, Gray, I consider Gray someone that I like. Gray helped me in the beginning. When I started this, he was very kind to me. I know it's a shock, but he was very sweet.
Shock.
I asked, he knows I'm kidding him. And
Right.
I asked Chris, is it okay if Gray Hughes comes up? And Chris said yes. So Gray, I'm going to turn it over to you now, please, sir.
Okay, so Gray's going to talk about the lights, which I'm going to just kind of skip forward because I want to get to the new information. So I'm just going to hop forward. But Gray basically just says he feels the same way as Chris Proudfoot. He empathizes. So now I want to jump forward to where we start talking about Child Protective Services. Just a little bit forward.
You wanted the answer. I'm giving you the answer.
I've seen him on shows. Remember at the beginning, him and his wife would go on shows, and they were totally calm, talking, and they were normal. But everybody dissected every single word that they said, and everybody came up with a negative meaning for every single thing they
let
said.
Let me tell you what happened. I can explain. Now. Let me tell you, Chris, when you went on and talked about hitting Sebastian with a belt and kind of, just chuckling about it and how the social services or child protective services came to your door and apologized to you, that got people upset. It got people.
But right, let's clear that real quick.
And rightly so. Rightly so. So Chris Proudfoot's going to try to clear this up, but in my opinion, he only makes it worse. And I'll tell you why in just a second.
Quick.
Okay.
That needs to be cleared up because what was said and what people heard are 2 totally different things.
I heard you
Because
say you hit him with a belt.
Okay, so let me finish because that's the problem. When I go to make the statement, people want to interrupt and try to say, well, this and that. No.
This is Trisha's show. He's on Trisha's show. This is, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Wanted the answer. I'm giving you the answer. Now, when I answered that question, I told people Sebastian got a spanking. He got 1 lick on his butt outside of his clothes. If somebody can tell me how that's abuse to a child, explain to me.
Can you confirm when that happened?
That was years ago.
I got spanked by a belt and wooden spoon by my mom for years.
So, but let's not sidetrack. Let's stay on board. Okay. So the question about the CPS thing that came up to play that everybody wants to tie to this belt is not what it was.
Okay.
Well, I think it was confusing because when you initially talked about it, you referred to him as an embarrassed 15-year-old. So
Yes, you did.
Like it was years ago.
We thought it was like right recently.
Well, instead of
So let's
asking
clear it
more
up.
clarification,
Let's clear it
that should
up.
have been. So, as it stands, Sebastian went to school one day. He made a statement to a teacher. The teacher reports it to CPS. CPS comes to the house. That case has nothing to do with Sebastian getting spanked.
Oh, so he just dug himself, in my opinion, he just digs himself in deeper there. So that wasn't related to the incident with the belt. This is another incident. Oh my gosh. Listen to this, you guys. This is trigger warning here, guys. This is really sad.
That had everything to do with Sebastian didn't like being in trouble. So he thought by reporting it to a teacher, they were going to come to the house and they're going to take me out of the house and do this and do that. That is what the CPS case was about. And yes, I laughed at it because when I explained to Sebastian, very detailed, what happens, he thought it was a joke. When the CPS lady shows up and looks at him and says, Sebastian, you can't false report. That will get people in trouble and you can get in trouble.
So I feel so bad for Sebastian. So just let's sum this up. Sebastian confides in a teacher about how he was being treated in the house. And I'm watching my words here, which to me confirms everything that I've been wondering about this case. Did Sebastian feel like he had no one to turn to in his own family, in his own household? What was really going on in the house? Did Sebastian feel like he could talk to Katie about it or talk to Chris about it? Because listening to how Chris is talking in front of all of us, it doesn't seem so. I think that if Chris is willing to talk like this publicly, this says a lot about how he talks when the doors are closed. So Sebastian turned to a teacher and the teacher's the one who called CPS on the Proudfoots, not Sebastian. So what happens according to Chris Proudfoot, and I think Chris Proudfoot totally digs himself in here because he admits that Sebastian did report something, we don't know what, to the teacher. And that Sebastian was hoping Chris Proudfoot would be removed from his house. And instead, according to Chris Proudfoot, if this is true, the CPS lady, which is how he's going to describe her in just a second, tells Sebastian that he cannot file false reports. So imagine if Sebastian did feel afraid in his own house and tried to tell his teacher let CPS know, and CPS comes to the house and tells Sebastian he's going to get in trouble for falsely reporting things. I mean, this is so sad. Did Sebastian feel like he had no one to turn to in this household? It just breaks my heart. Let's continue on.
And then she explained to him what happens.
What did he say you did to him?
Can I ask you, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China when it comes to the disappearance of Sebastian?
He doesn't want to answer. All she wants to know is, what did he do? I'm backing it up. All she wants to know is, what did he do? He won't answer. He won't say.
So he thought by reporting it to a teacher, they were going to come to the house and they're going to take me out of the house and do this and do that. That is what the CPS case was about. And yes, I laughed at it because when I explained to Sebastian, very detailed, what happens, he thought it was a joke. When the CPS lady shows up and looks at him and says, Sebastian, you can't false report. That will get people in trouble and you can get in trouble.
And I'm wondering if Sebastian just tried to play it off like a joke because he's scared at this point. He's afraid. Listen to how this person talks when he on TV, and this is his best behavior when Gray is on the panel. So kudos to Gray for coming up. But Gray doesn't stay. He gets off, and then Chris goes right back to being Chris.
And then she explained to him what happens.
What did he say you did to him?
Can I ask you, what does that have to do with the price of eggs in China when it comes to the disappearance of Sebastian?
Because I'll tell you why. Because you're wondering why people are coming at you. And it's because he was in your home last. That was the last place he was seen.
Yes,
so
he was.
When we hear these things, it's like, okay, let's just clear it up and see what happens. Because I'll tell you why. Because people, I'm not saying me, but I've seen people say, hey, he was hitting his child. He reported it to his teacher. Did something happen? Was there an explosive incident that happened?
No, Absolutely nothing of that nature.
Okay.
And for people to not understand,
Then why not say what it was? Why not just say what it is? If it's nothing, if it's a nothing burger, just say that.
when you discipline a child, there's a difference in discipline and abuse. There truly is a difference.
But I think hitting anybody with a belt is abuse. I'm sorry, I do. And a lot of people agree with me, and that's the problem.
And
So
guess
we have a
what?
difference
That's
of
the
opinion.
great thing. That's the great thing about having your opinion.
Yes.
That's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's opinion.
Okay. I think a belt is abuse, but that's my, again,
Well,
that is my,
if I was leaving bruises and marks on a child, that's abuse.
So it's only falls into that category if there's bruises, right? I don't know, you guys. Thank you so much, Miss Nonya Biz, for the $5. She says he's showing his true colors. The light is slowly shining on his dark, nasty self. I'm watching my words here. Yeah, watch your words in the chat, guys. Keep it classy. Karen says, does Katie hide the keys to the back door in a place that Sebastian can't find them? I just think he couldn't have locked the door. I'm not saying there was a door that unlocked only from the inside, but the front door had a keypad and it would, so it would have locked behind, but the other doors were all still locked, which means we know Sebastian supposedly left with a flashlight and no keys. So he would not have had a way to lock the back door behind him, if that makes sense, Karen. Gruncher says, okay to brainstorm, but people just need to be careful what they put out as fact. Agreed. I don't know. We don't know, Mayfinder. But please let's watch the words we use in chat, guys. Keep it G-rated, please. Imagine having to have a debate with Chris. No wonder he's on his 5th wife and he doesn't have custody. He's not a nice guy and the truth is coming out. Sorry, belittle YouTuber. Oh yeah, he goes after everybody. Everybody who's all they're trying to do is just help. I'm not monetized right now. So we're all getting demonetized. We're just doing this. We just want to help. Is that a cat? No, Trisha's cat is going crazy because I'm sure Trish is getting upset. Even though she's trying to stay calm, she is staying calm. She's very professional, but her cat starts going bonkers in a second. All right. Yeah, if this is making you feel upset, just you don't have to watch this. I understand this. It's very sad. And think about living in the house with this man. If you're under his rule, under his thumb, and you go to your teacher to try to share whatever he shared, and Chris Proudfoot won't say what it is because he says it has nothing to do with anything, but it does. If Sebastian ran away, or there was something that went on that night and something else awful was said or done, it does matter.
That would be considered abuse.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
so by definition,
that's weird.
That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. You can say your opinion, and that is fine, but you have to back it up and say, what I'm stating is just an opinion. There's no fact to it.
Well, I'm going to just state this as a fact. I feel like whether you leave marks or not, if you're putting your hands on somebody else, that's not okay, period. But that's, if you're using a belt to do it, that's not okay, period. But that's, I'm going to state that as a fact. And that's what I believe as a fact. That is not okay. There's no excuse. This was a special needs. No excuse to put your hands on special needs.
When you don't say that, you leave it open to interpretation for a lot of people to take it and run with it. That was a lot of the problems with this.
And there will be people, I can get people from CPS that will say hitting a child with a belt is an abuse. But here's the thing. You're right. That doesn't have anything to do necessarily with Sebastian and his disappearance. But what it does is it creates a narrative in people's minds that we need to clear up and change, Chris. We need to clear it up and change it. Okay? So let's do that.
So we just did.
Okay.
Trisha tries everything to help Chris Proudfoot here, in my opinion. He just cannot get out of his own way.
If now you did go on Nancy Grace and say that CPS has never been called. And
no,
a lot
that's not. No. Nope.
Okay, that's what I heard. What did you
She
say?
asked the question about a situation, and she asked me if I had ever had CPS called on me, I believe is what the question was. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't exactly know what the question was without hearing it again. So I'm
Okay.
not going to answer you with
I can
something
pull up
without
the
having it in front of you.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. Very fair. And so let's move on. Okay, so nothing came of that from you hitting him with a belt. Has there ever been any, and people are going to ask, has there ever been any violence in your home as far as Sebastian is concerned?
No.
Okay, now Gray asked, why is Seth being treated so different? Because of how Chris came on and became so angry and did what you did tonight, Chris. You've done this before. And I think that's why. And Seth didn't. And I think that's the difference.
Right, because I don't feed out of people's hands. I don't feed into what people think. I don't, and once again, that's the difference.
It's called having manners, having basic manners, basic respect for other people, and just being belligerent and enjoying it. You know, this is exactly what Peter Hyatt, statement analyst Peter Hyatt, said, that he is belligerent. My grandfather would have referred to him as ornery, but he's belligerent and he enjoys it on top of that. So this goes back and forth, and I'm just going to hop ahead here. So Chris Proudfoot tells us that Sebastian has gone out of the house barefoot before, but has never run off. And during the time, they do ask him what time he and Katie were on the phone, and he refuses to give an exact time, but does acknowledge he was on the phone with Katie Proudfoot during the time she heard the thud, which was around 10 p.m. So I'm wondering if Sebastian overheard a conversation between Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Were they FaceTiming, or did she have Chris on speakerphone, especially being that they were talking for 3 hours? Did Sebastian hear him and feel upset that he had to run out of the house with bare feet? I'm not saying this is what happened. This is speculation on that. But let's hop forward, because let's just get into more.
I put proud food one time when I wrote it.
Yeah.
So
I've been called Bradford, Proud Food, Brown.
They're talking about the fact that his name was misspelled for a couple of minutes on the air.
Okay. Katie reported she heard a thud. And that's it.
But didn't she
knock her
ask?
off and
So
go to bed.
I've seen different reports of she heard a thud. She said, I don't know what you're doing in there, but you need to go to bed. I've seen other reports that Sebastian responded back to her. If he did respond back to her, do you know what he said?
Yeah, he replied, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean,
we're clearing things up.
right.
That's all this is. Let's just clear it up.
There was a noise. Katie heard it. She responded. Sebastian answered.
More hand clapping. Boy, if I were in the house, I wonder, if he pulls his belt off and smacks that against his hand. I don't know, you guys. To me, I feel uncomfortable with him. I feel I wouldn't be comfortable with him, interacting with him at all. Let me check in with chat, and then we're going to do, you can hear the cat is going bonkers. She's going to take the cat out in a second, but the cat's probably picking up on her energy, right? And she doesn't have headphones on, so the cat can hear this. Thank you so much. Marcia said this conversation should have never been taken place with Chris. Katie should be the one speaking. It all goes back to Katie, in my opinion. Green hearts for Sebastian. Thank you. The cat is meowing. Is too funny when he is so mad. I'm sure the cat is feeling the agitation because she doesn't have headphones on, which means that everything that's being said on the computer can be heard in the household. So I think the cat's, and also probably picking up on Trisha's energy, which is this. I'm feeling upset just watching this, and I'm sure just going through this with him and just trying to help him. That's all she's trying to do and Lisa says he definitely tries to control the conversation. Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, there's a cat. I'm going to just move past the cat comments. Even the cat doesn't like him. Chris Proudfoot needs to up his medication. I don't know. Thank you so much for being here. Does Sebastian have a bicycle? That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that. Texas Girl says, no, that's a lie. Everyone has accused Chris and Katie at the beginning and still doing it. I have from day one known they are innocent. They did not do anything to him. Nobody said that. Nobody has said that on today. I haven't said that, and neither has Trish. So I don't know what you're saying. Maybe you're addressing someone in chat. Who took down the flyers? He did not do it. It wasn't him. That's a rumor that was dispelled during this. Even the cat is mad. There's a thin line. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering too, if you're listening with headphones, you hear a little bit of slurring of words. I don't know if he just has a little bit of a lisp or, I don't know. Addis says, the way Chris is, even on these panels, if he wasn't at home wherever Sebastian went missing, Katie should be the one talking, telling what happened. She doesn't want to get caught telling lies. I don't know. Or if she just, I don't know what to think. I'm sure she was sitting next to him. But anyway, let's continue on, guys, because we have a lot of stuff. Some of you guys feel like they are innocent. They're not. I'm not here to decide that. Please no caps. Yeah, please don't do that. It flags the algorithm. You can, Texas Girl, do you think aliens took him? Let's not get into in that kind of thing either. Just be polite. Let's just keep it classy in our chat. I don't want anybody, don't at anybody. I don't want anybody to feel bullied or anything like that. Just talk respectfully. Watch your words. Let's keep it classy in the chat, because I think this is hard enough to listen to without all that. Okay, so the next part that we're going to be talking about is, so Chris Proudfoot tells us that Sebastian has gotten out of the barefoot before, but he's never run off. Now, we're going to jump forward a little bit because Chris Proudfoot's going to talk about Sebastian's sleeping issues. And Sebastian did have sleeping issues. Listen to this. I'm skipping over just some of the belligerence and the anger parts.
Yes.
Okay. That would be the only thing that would make sense, really.
Let me back it up. So
and again, I swear to you, Chris, we're not trying to be hostile. In fact, I've spoken on this live channel before and said, if Chris ever came here, we would treat him with total respect and honesty. And I really am trying to help, because I want people to get behind you and Katie, Chris, because I want people to help find Sebastian. And it's just such a bizarre thing. I mean,
it's a bizarre case. Yes, it very much so is.
And so Sebastian leaves, but he's not on anybody's camera. Is that what the police have said? Or are you allowed to say?
I can't go into details on that, but here's what I will tell you that's public. Our subdivision is very dark.
Mm-hmm.
There's no street lights in the subdivision whatsoever. If you go online, Google it, whatever, you'll see that there's absolutely no street lights in the subdivision. None.
Right.
If is there a possibility that some cameras may not pick up somebody walking in front of them because how dark it is? Yes.
Okay. That would be the only thing that would make sense, really.
Right. So
well, he even told me, I remember when he told me that even some detectives didn't show up on the cameras.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. That makes perfect sense then.
And remember, Sebastian was wearing all black. So now the big question is, if he did leave of his own accord, why? What happened? Did he go outside? Was there some kind of argument and he ran outside in his bare feet? Was he planning to run away?
Because that's been driving everybody crazy.
But if he was planning on it, why didn't he take his shoes? Why didn't he take a cell phone? Why not take a jacket?
But if it's so dark.
And I know, and it's hard for it, trust me, for everyone out there that, cameras, will pick up and all this. No, I promise you, not all cameras have the best quality as, you know, I mean, the stuff that you see on TV and, you see a demo of a camera in a store. It's different when you put it on a house and different elements. So, you know.
Okay, so it was so dark that it is logical to conclude that the cameras that Sebastian would have walked by, did not pick him up. And that's something that is logical that people can accept. Absolutely. I think this is a good question. Did Sebastian ever have nightmares? Could he have had one that scared him so badly that he took off? Has he ever had bad nightmares?
He's had sleeping issues. I mean, he doesn't really sleep a lot. That's why he's been, you know, but that's been his whole life. That's not just been like a segment. I'm pretty sure, I believe Seth has even mentioned this before as well. You know, I mean, the only time, like, I've seen a couple times where he slept really well, but I mean, that's when after a hard day of playing, if he's helped with outside work, but for the most part, he's had issues sleeping.
That's a big help in understanding this. Has he ever done anything like hid under a neighbor's car or anything like that?
Well, I'm going to say we have never seen anything like that. There's been somebody that has said something to that effect, but I'm not going to sit here and say for a fact, yes, he has.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, so he doesn't know if he's ever hid under somebody's car or not. So that's another thing that we've like heard. Holly says he wouldn't have talked to Nancy Grace like that. Ozark Lisa feels like he was really condescending. CC True Crime says Chris is responsible for most of the misinformation. What game? Chris Proudfoot from Brother Mike. Cheryl C says, why should they? And Josh says that's true to you, Holly. And then Amelia, this is one of our head mods. Amelia and Jazz are our two head mods that are in here. The other one is Jane J. She's having some issues that she can't be a mod today. But Amelia, not issues. She's has something else that came up. Amelia said all civilly and respected theories and opinions are welcome. Yeah, so just keep it classy. The mods will chime you out. And then if, it continues, then they'll just remove you. Pam says, I don't know. I'd say yes if he has a shunt. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yes, for public health. He's just trying to make Seth look bad once again. Seth is about to join the chat, you guys. So Addis Press says, does anyone else think it's funny how the Proudfoots were all yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, whenever they were talking to Nancy Grace, but he's rude with these ladies? I think this is a pretty good idea. And he still knows he's on TV. So if this is how he is on TV, Nancy would have put him in his place. Pen Jam says, I would be a nervous wreck in his company. I would not want to be under his thumb. I would agree. All right, so let's continue on, guys. So the next part, we're gonna go 2 minutes and 20 minutes, 20 seconds, 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Trish asks him whether Sebastian was planning to go live with Seth. All right, so this is really important. And then so let me just fast forward a little bit right there.
Okay.
That is something that we've all had mutual respect. I'm pretty sure, I believe Seth has even mentioned this before as well. I mean, the only time, like, I've seen a couple times where he slept really well, but I mean, that's when after a hard day of playing, if he's helped with outside work, but for the most part, he's had issues sleeping.
That's a big help in understanding this. Has he ever done anything like hid under a neighbor's car or anything like that?
To tell you what he does and doesn't do at his father's house. Those are two separate households.
Okay.
Sebastian is one way at our house. He's a different way at his father's house.
Okay.
That is something that we've all had mutual respect on. All the parents together.
Can you answer, was he planning to go live with Seth?
Yes.
Okay. And was he excited about it?
No.
Wow. So think about this from Sebastian's point of view. He's already autistic, and we know people with autism really don't like a lot of change in routine. Routine makes them feel comfortable, makes them feel safer than neurotypical people. And so now he's going to be moving to go live with his dad. So new household, new everything. And now we're finding out in this interview that Trish did such a great job on from Websleuths that he didn't want to go. Not because of anything to do with Seth, though. Let's listen in.
Okay.
At one point he was, but no.
Do you know why he changed? Why he wasn't excited?
Yes, because he was informed that he will be doing online schooling vice in-person school.
Okay. Was there a reason for that?
That's personal matters in my
Okay.
family that will not be discussed with anybody.
Understood. And I respect that. Thank you. He was on medication. Did he get his medication changed recently?
When you say recently, can you define recently?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe within the last few months. I'm trying to think of something that maybe would have changed his behavior for some reason.
It's really hard to say yes or no to that,
Mhm.
just because he goes and sees his doctors, and then in there they will talk about his medication and things if they want to change or if it needs to change.
Right.
But I mean, as far as I know, I'm not I didn't see any difference, but
Well, he wasn't home. Chris Proudfoot wasn't home, according to him, for the month of February.
And is it, and again, this is just something that people want to know.
Mhm.
Is it common for you and Katie to talk as long as you did that night?
sure.
Okay. Seth is here. I've asked him to join us. Insightful One, if Seth jumps on, can you please put him on the screen, because I can't because of my computer.
Right. I got it.
Thank you.
Have you guys
Eric-
seen the dog scent track? That because you actually showed it to me, right? Remember on the map?
All right, so I'm going to just pause here for a second, just hop forward a little bit because Seth joins the chat. There he is. All right.
Something like that. Just shorted it.
Stacy, I believe Seth is here.
I got it.
Seth, I am so glad that you are here, my dear. Thank you very much. Seth, what would you like to say now?
I got a few questions to ask Chris.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You can,
Oh,
yes,
I can
he can
hear
hear you.
Hey, Chris. So why
Yes.
did you texted me the other day about something I'd already sent Katie an email?
Say it. All right, say it one more time. All I heard was something about an email sent.
Why did you text me about an email I sent on Monday to Katie?
Because I didn't see the information in what you're referring to as Tony Mathis's phone number. I didn't see it. So that's
And I believe Tony Mathesis is the person that Seth wants to hire for the spokesperson, just to clarify. The only reason I know this is I watched the whole interview.
why I asked for it.
I mean, come on, Chris. If we're going to work together, more than a week communication between the
Seth?
people that I'm sending stuff to you and Katie.
Okay, so hear me out.
Proper
I told you. I told you.
Okay.
I told
Let's
you,
not come
Seth,
in
that
too
we
hot,
will work
okay?
together.
All right.
I explained to you I'm willing to work with you. You asked me some questions in regard to this dog handler. You asked me questions in regards to going on a social media platform. You've asked me questions about hiring a PR person that will speak for all of us and keep everybody off of these platforms. That's what you asked. Now, if you think I'm not going to do my homework and dig into people and find out who they are first, you're crazy. Because I would expect you to do the exact same thing if I gave you a name.
So Seth loses his connection here. But let me just, so I'm just going to hop forward a little bit because Trish is going to ask Chris about the search dogs and whether they searched inside the house. So let me just hop a little bit around here. So you guys can just get the meat and the potatoes on this.
Better for him to call me rather than to jump online.
I'm texting him.
Okay,
Seth loses his connection, but he's going to come back.
we can do that. So, hey guys, I don't want to talk about other creators in chat, so let's not do that, okay?
Yeah.
So,
Agree.
And ditto here, guys. Ditto here.
yeah, let's just, I mean, I don't want to give them any,
Right. So
Your
let's get to our next question.
okay, next question. Let me take a look at my notes, yeah, because I just wrote some things down. Have you had, and I may have asked this and I forgot, Chris, my mind is sometimes mush. Have you had search dogs inside the house and outside?
Yes, ma'am, I have. Yes, I sure have.
And what did the dogs hit outside?
So, as you know, if anybody has followed Mr. Gray's, what he was talking about, the dog and the trail and the scent and the overlay on the picture. So, there anywhere from 13 to 18 different dogs have been involved in this search.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on day one, there was 5 dogs. 5. There's an audio dispatch tape that's been released. I don't know who released it. Whatever, I don't have it, but you'd have to dig it and find it. In that audio tape, you actually hear that the deputy sheriff does state that the dog hints toward a scent and he takes over off to the retention pond and the construction site next door.
Okay.
Now, other dogs did the exact same thing. Now, am I going to say every single dog? No, but I do know of at least 3 dogs that went on the same scent trail, same path. The rest of the dogs, I'm not going to tell you that they are 100% honest and perfect and accurate because honestly, dogs are only probably 25% reliable when it comes to a scent.
Okay.
Now, 8 days, I've had dogs in my house the first 8 days. In my house, outside my house, around my house, around the neighborhood. So, yeah.
So they've been there and, yeah, so they did, you're saying they did hit and they all went to that pond?
No, I didn't say all that. I just told you I've had 13 to 18 dogs in my house and around my house.
Mm-hmm.
I told you 3 different dogs hit on the same path that go to that retention pond.
Right.
I'm
That's
not going to say that every other dog.
Not every dog, but some dogs hit. Okay.
Right. So, but I want this to be crystal clear.
Okay.
So when people say every dog, that is not the case. 3 dogs went on the same path.
Okay.
That is all that we have on that. The rest of these dogs go in different directions.
So I think that kind of clears up the confusion. And this was what I was trying to share with you guys in the last couple of live streams. These questions kept coming up about the dogs didn't get a scent. The dogs did get a scent. I think some of the dogs, and Chris Proudfoot's confirming it here, 3 of the dogs of the 18 or so dogs handled by different search teams. So we had different search teams did hit on some kind of a scent, and they took it to that pond, and that's the pond that was drained and empty. But Chris Proudfoot cannot get out of his own way on this. Listen to this.
But it's all unreliable.
Understood. We do have a question from Michelle. Chris, was Ellie able to go in and search the cave they said had collapsed about 10 feet in? I haven't heard this.
Okay, so Ken Widener is the EMA director for Sumner County. They called in all kinds of stuff, got layouts of where these caves were. I don't believe, and I'm not telling you by the gospel, I don't believe they were able to get into certain caves because they were not safe to enter. The one that she is referring to that collapsed, Honestly, we know that the one collapsed. We don't believe they had anything to it.
Got it.
Okay, so that answers the questions about the caves. One collapsed, so they couldn't get into it, and they searched the ones that were safe, but some of them were not safe to search. So that's the questions that I've seen coming up about the caves. Next, Seth is going to come back on. He's going to come on Trisha's phone. Just going to take you to that. And Gray Hughes has popped out.
But we, Katie and I, are not going to have some big, massive search party following us around with a bunch of people that are already threatened, death threats, by the way, to us. On my property, who I don't know Adam from Eve, and I really don't care what certification, who can vouch for these people. I don't care.
So the PI just wanted to know about searching, and he doesn't want people. Seth, I'm sorry, Chris Proudfoot doesn't want everybody on his property.
I'm going to do exactly what I have always been doing. You send that to me.
Okay,
We're
well,
going to review it, and then we're going to send it to.
Let me back it up a little bit so you guys can hear it, because I think it's worth listening to. So you can see Trisha get up to get the phone call, and she comes back in. She's got Seth on the line right here.
But we, Katie and I, are not going to have some big, massive.
mainly, Chris, the communication needs to be a little bit more prompt. If I send you an email on Monday and Tuesday, I'm not willing to wait a week to get a response back. I mean, that's unacceptable when we're trying to find Sebastian, buddy.
I understand what you're saying. I respect that. But when it comes to you asking people to come into my house on my property, who I don't know Adam from Eve, and I really don't care what certification, who can vouch for these people, I don't care. I'm going to do exactly what I have always been doing. You send that to me,
Okay,
we're
well,
going to review it, and then we're going to send it to
we're
law
gonna interrupt you,
enforcement.
Chris.
Let
Okay.
law enforcement go that
because,
route,
the
and then when law
spokesperson
enforcement comes,
speak for us, doesn't
Hold on.
need to be on your property.
Hold
see,
on,
this
Chris.
is
Chris, hold on 1 second. Hold on. Seth, what did you say?
I said the person to be our spokesman to speak for all three of us doesn't need to be on your property.
Okay,
But
Chris.
yeah,
You're
you
correct.
haven't
You are
spoken
very correct.
to him
I have spoken to him,
when
and I'm going to make this public. I am back working, and I have work hours. I also have to sleep, and unfortunately, I'm on the opposite schedule of you. So respect that.
Woo! Fireworks, and it just keeps getting worse. Gray Hughes left the panel. I don't know if he just felt like he didn't have anything else he wanted to contribute. Teammate, I felt like Trish has it. Let me just pop down here and check in with chat here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything or anyone. Let me see. We're going to finish. We're going to keep going on this because more information is going to be revealed. Amber says, if the cave collapsed, if my son was missing, I would always wonder. Yeah, I think so too. Obstacle course with words. Yep. Everything is just an argument and a fight. And this is Peter Hyatt, the statement analyst, called it. He said he definitely thought that Chris Proudfoot had, liked to argue that he enjoyed it, that he got off on the confrontation. I just wonder how hard it would be to be Sebastian, a special needs in the house with somebody who is this caustic, and my grandpa would have said ornery. Hey, Jamal. Jamal says, that's what I assume. I've seen that as where you go, they kind of, but it's pretty hard being out there with until the body cam footage is released. Amber says, I don't want anybody where my son was last seen searching. You don't? Deb says, if Chris Proudfoot's goal was to be more likable, he failed miserably. Brother Mike says, Chris Proudfoot doesn't want the dogs to check his yard. I think he's okay with law enforcement. He just doesn't want the private investigators and their dog teams or EquiSearch or something like that on there. Hey, Tara. Deb says they could always send a drone. Amber says, I don't want dogs anywhere near my house because they're only 25% right. Yeah, but 25% when you're looking for a missing special needs is a lot. I think it's worth it. Ren says, not sure he respects anything. Kong thinks it's shady. I don't know if it's just shady or just obstinate. Shamal says, why would you email? I mean, that night, then Sunday morning, Seth did go on interviews throwing shade. Who emails and who? Yeah, so to be fair, I want to do both sides on this. So to be fair, Seth did, we saw them at the, not the vigil, this last one that was this weekend, but the weekend before, they had the prayer vigil. We saw the images of those two guys talking. I covered it in a live stream last week. And, you know, to be fair, Seth did sit on a panel that with Peter Hyatt, who, you know, said some things that, you know, that Chris Proudfoot didn't like about Katie. So, but, you know, I don't know if Seth knew ahead of time what Peter was going to say. You know, I don't know. Love Life says the neighbor knows so much he doesn't even know Chris' wife was doing. That's why he has her in the camper. Amber says every second counts. Yeah, exactly. This whole waiting a week or waiting days to get back on just getting the spokesperson. To me, I don't really know if they're going to be able to, you know, work together or not. I think that yeah, Seth is the father. Exactly, Donna. All right, so let's continue on with the interview because coming up, what we're going to be, you know, I just wonder if Sebastian did feel safe in the house with Chris Proudfoot. Did he feel like his mother wanted him, or Sebastian? Did Sebastian feel like he had no one to turn to? Once he told his teacher what was going on, and she called CPS, and they showed up. And then, according to Chris Proudfoot, if this is true, CPS tells Sebastian he can get in trouble for falsely reporting things. So I don't know. It just makes me wonder if Sebastian just felt like he had nowhere to turn and went out that night and just frustration in his bare feet. Did the door click closed behind him? And that was the thud Katie heard. Did he slam the door behind him? That was the thud Katie heard. Or was the door closed behind him? I don't know what to think, you guys. This is just my opinion, and opinions are not facts. I'm just asking questions.
I will do what I
When did
can
you speak
as
with
I
him,
can
Chris?
when I can.
I'm sorry, Seth, go ahead.
When did you speak with him, Chris?
What has that got to do with finding Sebastian?
If he's going to be our spokesperson, I was just asking when you spoke with him.
I haven't come up with an answer yet. We've spoke with him. We told him we'll get back with him after we've done some consideration and talking with law enforcement. We'll get back to him and we'll let him know our decision.
So,
I think Seth should just get the spokesperson for himself and move forward.
I know you're on board with that. I do. I mean, I know you're 1,000% on board with Mr. Mathis. I got that. I'm not taking that away from you.
So, Chris, I understand like every marriage is different and husband-wife aspect. You seem very protective of Katie and her having conversations with or without you. But like I said before you came on, I do believe that Katie is the one who, and I'm not saying it's because she knows what happened to Sebastian, but she was the last person that was with him. And so she does hold the most information, at least up until the point that he went missing.
What information do you think she holds?
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Well, then do me a favor. Let's just get to it.
Okay.
Don't pour gravy on the mashed potatoes. Just serve the stuff up.
Chris, I'm really trying to be respectful, and this is a
I
very
mean, I am too. So please just get to it.
okay.
No,
So
you're
we would
interrupting.
really love to hear from Katie about his body language that day. You know, we've heard from others who are, you know, not necessarily good sources about his body language at the bowling alley and his body language here and there. And so we're just really trying to pick up on Sebastian's mood, because it could help us understand what led to him walking away off the front porch out the front door.
Well, that is something that if she decides to answer, that's on her. But what I know,
Oh my gosh, your son is missing. Get on the phone. You know she's probably sitting right there, right? Didn't she say she was accompanying him? I'm moving this forward a little bit because he just is ornery and belligerent, in my opinion. He just goes round and round. But Seth brings up the fact that there's a rumor that the Chris Proudfoot family may have Sebastian, and Chris Proudfoot does address it. And I do want to try to be fair to Chris Proudfoot too, even though I just feel like he is not helping himself here, in my opinion. There's a reason people prefer Seth over Chris Proudfoot, and a lot of it is just, you know, behaviors like this, like what we're seeing, and the way that he talks to women, and it just makes me wonder how Sebastian was getting spoken to.
off the table, period. That's the same statement law enforcement has made. That's the same statement I'm going to tell you
So
every
there's a
single day in and
possibility
day out.
Katie gave my son to your mother and father. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Say it one more time.
Do you not want to say that? Well, we can move on. So
No. I want to hear it.
There's a rumor out there, Chris,
That
that your mom and your dad have Sebastian. It's been brought up to me.
Seth, you know darn good and well. You got a question about my
I'm just
mother.
asking.
You pick up the
Did they
phone.
take him
and
somewhere
you call.
to lead a boot camp or anything like that? And Katie just thought I wouldn't accept it.
I don't think
Hold
Seth
on.
is being accusatory. I think he's just trying to clear up a bunch of BS that's been online.
Right, and I'm trying, and I'm telling you, if he's had this suspicion, he's got my mother's phone number. He can pick up the phone and call her. She is not afraid to
No,
answer any
Chris, I'm not
questions.
saying you. I don't want to talk to your mom. I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to Katie.
Well, it's real
And I'm
simple,
just
Seth.
asking to put it to the rest.
You have seen the video footage of Seth
haven't.
on Sunday. Don't tell me you hadn't. I know you have. You sat in the room
No, I
with all
haven't.
the agents.
No, they didn't show me the video footage, buddy.
So you didn't see, you weren't sitting in a room
Wait a
with
minute.
law enforcement, the district attorney, when they showed you a video, when you wanted proof of life, saying that you hadn't seen proof since Friday.
That
When
was
you've been at my house the first 3 damn days.
Sunday, buddy.
Chris, let Seth speak. Go ahead, Seth.
Chris, they showed me video proof of him coming out of Texas Roadhouse on Sunday.
On a Sunday
I-
night. You damn right.
Just, Chris,
Seth, I got a problem with you sitting here making these accusations. Because if you got a problem with them,
been all over
guess
the
what?
internet. Let's watch it.
All Seth is trying to do is clear up some of the rumors, not make an accusation. But again, this goes back to, I really do think that Chris Proudfoot enjoys this. I really do. I really do. I think he's enjoying it. We've all known people that love to have love to have an argument. They love to argue about anything. You say the sky's blue, they'll tell you it's green. They just like to be contrarians. So, I just think that all he's trying to do is clear up this rumor. He just wants to know, well, what can I move forward on? What can I put to bed? And instead of just giving him a straight answer, my parents do not have him. He gives this tap dance of you already know, which, it must be torturous if you have a child that's missing.
I think we're just trying to talk things out, and I don't even know if this should be public, honestly.
Same.
Okay, here's all the public knowledge you need on this deal. Law enforcement has talked to my parents, my whole family. Once again, the statement is true, what law enforcement says. Just because you hear a rumor doesn't make it true.
Chris,
I don't think he said it was true. I think he's just trying to clarify.
He said
That's not clarifying. No, stop. No, stop sitting here trying to defend his actions. Stop.
Okay.
The fact is, Chris, is I'm trying to squash the rumor. We're both here squashing the rumor.
Seth, there is no rumor. You know my parents were not with Katie.
There is a rumor. There has been a rumor going around social media that I've seen it in my questions in the comment section. So just to be clear, Chris Proudfoot is going to say that his parents do not have Sebastian.
On Sunday.
That's all I'm doing, Chris.
No, you're causing a problem because you know damn good and well where my parents were at their house on Sunday night. They weren't near Katie. They weren't near Sebastian. And if you got a problem, all you got to do is pick up the phone and call her. Be an adult. Be a responsible adult. And just call her.
Chris. Can you hear me, Chris?
Oh, I can hear you.
Because all I'm hearing is anger and attitude from you. What I'm trying
And you should, Seth. You should. Because what you're doing is bullshit and you know it.
So this is how he talks to another adult. So again, I'm just going to ask this question. How did Sebastian feel in this household? Holy moly.
Stop.
Okay,
People are
right,
talking
enough.
over each other.
Enough.
Seth, go, and then Chris, go. Please, Seth, and then Chris. Thank you.
Chris, a unified front squashes rumors together. That's all I am stating.
Okay, Chris.
This is a rumor floating around, and I would like us to squash it.
Yeah, I think that is a great rumor to try to squash. That one's on Facebook, and the rumor is actually that about your mom, her car being parked at like Worsham's and him getting
Okay, so here's the answer. The final answer to this.
It's not just an online rumor because people have driven up to me and personally spoken about this.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can I make the statement?
I wish
This is very simple. This conversation has nothing to do on social media. You want to have this conversation, Seth? You call me, you get Heather, you get Chloe on the phone.
That's
Hell,
fine.
I'll do you one better, and
Right.
I will get Bobby and Carter on the phone, and we'll all sit down and have this little fucking powwow.
You can hear the clapping. That's Chris Proudfoot clapping, emphasizing this point. So what did Sebastian feel like? Because to me, I'm like finding this very hard to listen to. It's very, very hard to listen to.
We're not going to have a powwow like that, but I would
Well, then guess what?
this situation, and I would love for it to be private because I believe a lot of what is happening right now should not be public.
I
So
agree.
explain to me why you don't want Bobby and Carter involved.
I didn't say I didn't want Bobby and Carter involved. I
Yeah.
said I was referring to your tone, which is very angry.
Oh, I'm very pissed.
I know that. I think we just all need to take a breath because no one is accusing anyone of anything. We are trying to dispel
So
things
this is a
because in
rumor.
turn, dispelling these things will
You're
take
so full of shit.
some of the BS off of you.
Whoa. That was uncalled for. And Chris, I mean, I do understand your anger, but I know these ladies. I don't know Seth. I just know what I've seen. But these ladies are not full of shit.
I didn't say they're full of shit. I was referring to Seth being full of shit with his comments.
Well, that doesn't help matters.
No, it doesn't. So when you brought him on the show and he wants to start this shit, that isn't going to answer questions.
Hear how belligerent this is. Peter Hyatt called it. He called it before we saw this side of Chris Proudfoot. Before we saw this side of Chris Proudfoot publicly, which is, kudos to Trish and Websleuths Lives. They kept the conversation going. She kept the conversation going. We got to see this side, and he knew he was on camera, on TV. He knew this was being aired. So what is he like when he's not on the air? We're going to continue on with this in just a second. I just need to like catch my breath for a minute. Let me check in with chat. Marcia says he doesn't really care about finding Sebastian. It's so sad. Ren says he sleeps at the RV though. Lovely says Chris Proudfoot needs a padded cell. Miss Nonya says whoop-de-doo. Cheryl says respect that why you don't give anyone respect. Hey Sirius Black, good to see you. Mike says that Chris Proudfoot stinks. Deb says, no, don't pat it. Shove out this padded cell. Amber says they don't want anyone where Sebastian was last seen. I think Jamal says energy shots. Really, it's been 2 months and Seth and law enforcement. He knows for sure there's no chance of finding anything. I don't know. I showed some information during the live stream I did earlier that shows that kids with autism have survived in the wilderness longer than that. So I think there is still a chance. Hey, Jesus loves me. Hey, Mrs. Chat GPT-4. Good to see you. Donna Cricket says that she agrees with you, or he agrees with you. Teresa says if he ran away and run outside the house, the dogs wouldn't have picked up a scent. Well, 3 of the dogs did pick up something. They followed something to that pond, and that's why they drained that pond. Green hearts for Sebastian. Tara said these people are more worried about arguing than they are finding this child. This is why, I think a spokesperson would. Where is Katie? Yeah, where is Katie? I would bet you that she's sitting next to Chris Proudfoot. That's my guess. I don't know that. Obviously, I'm not a soothsayer or a mind reader, but my best guess is she was like right there. Ren says he left the house and I don't know about that. I do think he ran out. I do. I think the household was uncomfortable. Energy shot says not if there's evidence in the house. Cricket says, why does Chris speak for Katie too? He wasn't there. Yeah, I know. Leslie says, why is Chris coming across as the biological father? And Energy Shot says 25% is huge sometimes. Yeah, in this case, I think it's massive. Teresa says he thinks he's intimidating. I find him to be. I do find him. I would be afraid. Maria says Chris does not want Sebastian found. In my opinion, Katie either. Okay, so please don't add each other. Don't if you want to have an argument, go do it somewhere else, not in my chat. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to dig into that comment that Chris Proudfoot made to Seth regarding if he wanted to find Sebastian, he would need to go to the church. And Chris Proudfoot's going to address what was said. So let me just fast forward here, because we don't need to listen to Chris Proudfoot yelling I can't. I've already watched this one time.
You all are playing one-sided here.
Woo.
No, we're not.
I don't think that's fair.
So then tell Seth when I'm talking, let me finish.
Okay, Seth,
Okay.
let him finish.
Yes, Seth, please let him finish.
There's conversations you've had that should have never been out in the public light, and you know it. And because you did that, it started a lot of rumors. Own it, accept it, and move on from it. I told you on Sunday, I supported you. I would be there for you no matter what, how ugly this got. But I'm not going to stand by and watch you disrespect me, my family, my wife, or anybody for that matter. A lot of rumors got started because you went on social media and you opened your mouth and said some things you shouldn't have said. Accept it. I'll show you the videos.
You don't need to show me the videos.
Now, in hindsight, that is a conversation you and I need to have offline, away from everybody else, in our own private conversation.
Peter Hyatt called it. Statement analyst who works for law enforcement said that he was belligerent, and he's talking about Chris Proudfoot, and he enjoyed it.
You and I,
in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and opinions are not facts, but I think he enjoys it, and he's enjoying the argument, which is really makes me wonder what was going on in the house. What was going on in that phone call with Katie, that 3-hour call? Did Sebastian hear it? Was Chris Proudfoot on speakerphone talking like this?
Sit down and we can talk. Literally, Lisa, you had people watch us doing it Sunday at that vigil.
Well, I
They
don't
were
think
snapping pictures because they were trying to get some juicy information.
Trish,
So let's answer.
can we move on to the question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there's a question here in chat, and I've heard this, and Chris, this is a good one I'd like to clear up.
Okay.
Is it true that Chris told Seth, you will find your son at church?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's
What he stated was if I went to church, maybe I'd find my son.
so in other words, if you went to church and talked to the Lord, is that what you were saying,
Yes,
Chris?
that is what the whole conversation in reference was.
I have a
Not
question for
you
you.
go to a church and you'll find it. Who's
Hold
coming
on,
up with that
Seth.
crap?
I'm sorry, Chris, finish. I'm sorry.
I'm talking because why I understand. I see where people got that.
Right.
But that is a conversation that Seth and I had privately. You know, I'm sorry, but we're not going to sit here and drag certain things into this. It has nothing to do with it.
I actually think that this is a very interesting statement. Very interesting statement. I think it's a very interesting statement that he told Seth, Chris Proudfoot did, that he would, if he went to church, he would find his son. I think it's very interesting. I'm just going to back it up. I want to just hear this exchange one more time, then we'll move on.
Do you want of videos where you have gone out there and you've said some very harsh things that should never have come out? You never should have. And now don't take this the wrong way. That is a conversation for
I'm not
later.
here to swing mud.
Let me finish.
There are things that I put out there.
Once again, you can't talk to a fucking log.
Okay. What? Okay.
Chris,
So
Let me finish.
Chris, that's not productive.
It's not. So let me finish. You all are playing one-sided here.
no, we're not.
I don't think that's fair.
So then tell Seth when I'm talking, let me finish.
Okay, Seth,
Okay.
let him finish.
Yes, Seth, please let him finish.
There's conversations you've had that should have never been out in the public light, and you know it. And because you did that, it started a lot of rumors. Own it, accept it, and move on from it. I told you on Sunday, I supported you. I would be there for you no matter what, how ugly this got.
Do you think Chris Proudfoot is supporting Seth and being there for Seth no matter what? If you do, put a 1 in the chat. If you think Chris Proudfoot is supporting Seth no matter what, put a 1 in the chat. If you think he is not supporting Seth no matter what, put a 2 in the chat.
But I'm not going to stand by and watch you disrespect me, my family, my wife, or anybody for that matter. A lot of rumors got started because you went on social media and you opened your mouth and said some things you shouldn't have said. Accept it. I'll show you the videos.
You don't need to show
Now-
me the videos.
Now, in hindsight, that is a conversation you and I need to have offline, away from everybody else, in our own private conversation. You and I, we sit down and we can talk. Literally, Lisa, you had people watch us doing it Sunday at that vigil.
Well, I
They
don't
were
think
snapping pictures because they were trying to get some juicy information.
Trish,
So let's answer.
can we move on to the question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there's a question here in chat, and I've heard this, and Chris, this is a good one I'd like to clear up. Is
Okay.
it true that Chris told Seth, you will find your son at church?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's
What he stated was if I went to church, maybe I'd find my son.
so in other words, if you went to church and talked to the Lord, is that what you were saying,
Yes,
Chris?
that is what the whole conversation in reference was.
I have a
Not
question for
you go to a church and you'll find
Chris.
it. Who's
Hold
coming up
on,
with
Seth.
that crap?
I'm sorry, Chris, finish. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm talking because why I understand I see where people got that,
Right.
but that is a conversation that Seth and I had privately. I'm sorry, but we're not going to sit here and drag certain things into this. It has nothing to do with it.
Of course, Chris doesn't want to talk about that because either way you say that, if you go to the church, you'll find your son would actually be better if he was actually at the church. But telling Seth that he has to go to the church and to talk to his son, but it's not to find him, it to me is actually worse. What do you guys think? Let me scroll down here. We're doing a poll. I see a couple of twos. Yeah, I think so too. He's insinuating that he knows that his son's soul has passed to the other side. I feel like that too. Hey, Addie. Chris, you are not the victim, and this isn't about social media makes you feel. This is about finding Sebastian. Exactly. There's no talking to a caveman roar. I agree. Apparently, intimidation has worked for him in the past. Whoops. Yep. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? Energy Shot says 2. Maria says 2. Pen Jam says 2. Addis Perez. Ms. Nunez says 2. I'm just going backwards here. Christy says 2. So I don't see any ones. Two. No, he isn't respecting anyone for that matter. Maria thinks he should let Seth talk. 2. Seth is the biological father, not Chris to use as a punching bag. Exactly. I missed a whole bunch of the poll. All right. So Addis Press says the Proudfoot's actions are why people feel the way they do. Chris Proudfoot laughed about it. They have done nothing to find Sebastian. They're living their best lives. I don't know. This guy needs therapy. Leslie said, sounding very defensive. This makes Chris Proudfoot look worse. Claudia says he's not being supportive. So let's go through the 2. If you think that he's being supportive, you're going to put a 1 in the chat. If you think he's not keeping his promise to be supportive no matter what, put a 2 in the chat because I just curious what you guys think. Wow. It's a lot of 2s. Wow. Ms. Nonia says the statement about the church always bothered me and stuck out to me since the first time I heard it. Yeah, it bothers me too. And the fact that he's saying that he wasn't saying that Sebastian was there, to me, doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. And Kimmy says this was the norm under that roof. I'm worried about that too, Kimmy. Lots of 2s. Tracy says he yells to intimidate. You don't demand respect from someone like that. Chris is the one who started yelling with telling us about Sebastian and the diapers, and Seth explained because of that he regressed. Yeah. 2. All right. So I think we got the gist of it. It's definitely, I'm seeing a lot of 2s in the chat. Hey, Leslie. Micro Kimmy says, yeah, it's the only thing Chris wanted to do is move away from and not nitpick at it. Cheryl said, he said, if you go to church, you might find, I don't know what the JO stands for. Sierra says, please don't mention other creators in the chat. Yeah, please don't do that. If you guys see that, please just remove the comment. Just take the comment out. We're not dragging other YouTubers. Tracy said he gave him a clue and Seth shared that. He's done that with the rumors about him and his wife. A lot of allegations against him are unfounded. Another 2. When he goes soft voice, he is gaslighting. Kimmy says, oh my gosh, Chris is so unproductive. Hey, Cat's Life. Marcia says, all kidding aside, we're all adults here trying to process this madness from Chris. Think about what Sebastian had to try to process. Yeah. And, it's really, really sad. All right, let's continue on because coming up next, we're we're going to go forward a little bit because Chloe, who's the private investigator hired by Seth, says that there are some very large properties that still need to be searches and encourages everyone to search. But she also talks about the terrain. And I think this is important. Let me just fast forward because a lot of this is just Seth just Chris going after Seth. It's not productive and it's upsetting.
Weeks later, instead of the moment that they come in, when you get these tips, you call 911, you call TBI, you don't call these PIs, you don't call Seth, you don't call us, you just call the law enforcement agency.
And I have a different take on it. I feel like some people don't want to talk to law enforcement. And if they don't feel like they can talk to law enforcement for whatever reason, then reach out to the private investigators. I think law enforcement should be your first choice, which is why I have the 1-800 TBI find scrolling below for any credible tips. But you could reach out to the special investigators, the private investigators that are hired by Seth, because not everybody feels comfortable talking to law enforcement.
Keep spreading the flyers, spreading the word, prayers. Trust me, keep the prayer warriors out there. We need them.
Thank
I agree. And I think, because of all of the noise, people have not been reminded to continuously search their properties. And like I said before, everybody else came on here. There's a lot of really large properties in the area, and the terrain is treacherous in a lot of areas, and things get missed. So I think it's important to center it back to the local level, first of all, because this has become national, and nationally people are giving their opinions. We need the community to come back together and search their acres and acres of property, because I believe he could be very close to home.
Okay, so that's the private investigator also saying she believes he could be very, very close to home. Before I forget, this is important. I do want to say thank you to I'm not ending the show. We're not done. I just want to say thank you to our channel member, our VIP, Jane J, our producers, Energy Shots, George Brown, and Jazz in for Amber, and our channel members. If you would like to be a channel member, hold on. Let me stop that for a second. I got to take down the scrolling thing for just a second. Let me just say thank you to our channel members. If you would like to have your name appear like this in every live stream and in my videos, you can hit the join button, which is right next to the subscribe button. But subscribing helps me a lot too. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it does help the channel out. As I said, these videos and these live streams are just getting demonetized. So this is just, for Chris to just characterize this as people, and Trish, who runs the Websleuths.com, doesn't have this monetized. So she was not doing this for money. She was doing this because she cares. And I also just want to say, give a shout out for super thanks, PayPal gratitude, and also super giving away some channel memberships. Okay, so let's continue on with this.
There you
Now,
go.
I will say this much, that everything she said is exactly the same thing law enforcement's been pushing. If you're not comfortable searching, call law enforcement. They, I'm sure, can work in getting a team out there to search the property. Please, everybody that's searching, do not. I can't stress this enough. Please do not just walk on private property without having prior permission. Please.
By the way, there's comments in chat and we're removing them. Chris has been searching. Okay. He has been searching. Just because you don't see him searching, because you personally don't see him, doesn't mean he's not searching. So that needs to.
So you're fine, Energy Shots. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. So Trish is saying that Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot are searching. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean they're not searching. So
stop. Okay. That needs to stop right now. And Seth, what do you feel the final word should be?
need people to keep the faith. Need people to keep faith that we will find Sebastian. I don't know.
And nobody is saying that he is. As if you've been watching the show, you know that's not. Nobody's saying that. Nobody is. At least I have not been saying that. Maybe somebody said that in chat. I don't know. Maybe you're just responding to something you read. But I have not been saying that. I've been saying that I thought he may have run away. Let me put the scrolling back down too, because it's got the TBI number on there. All right, let's continue on together, shall we? Let's continue on.
I don't know what people's mindset are right now, but it doesn't need to be about me. It doesn't need to be about Chris. It needs to be about Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian is the goal. Sebastian is what is lost. Sebastian is what needs to be found.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
And you can hear Seth is crying here. He's literally crying.
There's somebody he's here for me.
I am so sorry.
My son is missing. I need people to continue with the flyers, as Chris said.
Mm-hmm.
TBI has already stated that most of their tips do come in from flyers. I have
Okay.
I have 100% faith that the humanity that still exists out here, that we can come together, heads up, eyes open, see something, say something. Contact FBI, contact TBI, call 911 for your local. Tell them that, you think you just saw the missing child from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Get them on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. At the same point in time, if you feel that they're not doing it, you just fix it. Law enforcement is short-handed. All it takes for evil things to exist is good men do nothing. And that's good females too. I'm not, it's just for evil to exist and continue is good people they do nothing.
Right.
Don't fall into the simplicity. On your way to work, on your way to the corner store,
Mm-hmm.
on your way to Walmart, you might see my son.
Absolutely
You might
right.
see him, and I need you to say something. I need you to call 911 immediately.
I do think it's possible that he ran away. I really do. Just hearing, I don't know if he was planning to run away or if he just ran out of the house, but I don't think it was planned because he doesn't have his phone, his coat, or shoes. But I do wonder if he could have just run away. What do you guys think? It's very sad. It's very hard to hear Seth crying. Seth sounds exhausted. Yeah, you're right, Leslie. He does. It's really, really sad. Hugs to Seth. True words from Seth. Thank you so much, Cricket. Teresa said, Seth, to only come out with the business that should have been private and family, because you do come out in public. He would rather let it get out himself than for Chris to do it. I mean, I feel like Seth's just doing the best he can in an awful situation. Praying for Sebastian. That's good. And says, I sure hope that at the end of all this, there's someone to wade through at any and all of Chris Proudfoot's rants. Yep. And I'm gonna I just want to sum it up by just saying that I think Sebastian had to live in this house, and I'm just wondering if this is. I feel like we got a peek, a glimpse into what may have been going on inside Chris and Katie Proudfoot's home with Sebastian, and I'm just really wondering if Sebastian felt like he didn't have anybody to turn to. He was too scared to tell his dad. He was too scared to tell another teacher because they might call CPS and then he would be accused of filing a false report. And then on top of that, he's finding out that he's being, going to live with his dad, Seth, but apparently he didn't want to go there because of school. But did he also feel like he was maybe being replaced with Faith? Because we know at the same time that all of this is happening, Chris and Katie are talking about trying to take Faith away from Nina Gomez. I sure hope the judge listens to this interview before he makes a decision. But I'm just wondering if Sebastian ran out of the house that night because he was upset. Maybe he did try to get to the school. I showed you guys on the map how easy it would be to get detoured off in the wrong direction, how it's so wooded and dense all around that neighborhood. But maybe the teacher was the only person that Sebastian felt like he could tell or rely on. And then to be torn away from that support system, from that school, even if, Seth, and I know Seth does love him, but even if it was going to be for better, from Sebastian, maybe it was just untenable. And maybe he, did just run away. The only thing that bothers me with that scenario is that he didn't have his shoes on. So maybe he just ran out of the house because he was feeling upset. This is Websleuths. I linked it also in the description so you guys can go and watch the interview in its entirety. Emil says, no, Sebastian did not run away. There's more to learn, and that's not being said by the people that know that child did not run away without shoes or his cell phone. Something occurred after dinner. Yeah, very possible. I'm just wondering, did he run out of the house? Was he upset about something that went down that night? We know he would have had a lot of stimulation too, right? Because he had been, out and doing all these fun things all day. But for somebody who, who's not neurotypical, that maybe does better with routine, was it too much stimulation? Tattooed Mama says maybe he ran away, maybe he overheard or misinterpreted something he heard with her on the long conversation he's talking about Katie and decided to run. Maria is sending love and hugs to Seth. If you want to join our Facebook group, it's credible information. Our moderators do a really good job of trying to bring you guys credible information. That doesn't mean non-credible doesn't slip in there every once in a while, but we really do try to moderate it to bring you guys credible information. Just type in Sebastian Rogers and Reporter Room, and that should pop up for you guys. CJK says, did he get far enough into a wooded area and fell into a small ravine? She said that described the ground as treacherous. That's what the private investigator Chloe described it as. Did he crawl into a pipe? Did he go into one of those caves or fall into an old well? We don't know. That's why I just feel like Deb does not believe he ran away. Charlotte says this might be the norm in their home. Poor Sebastian. Heartbreaking. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts my heart. Well, thank you guys for the green hearts. If comments are turned off, I didn't turn them off. I will have to appeal it with YouTube and then wait for them to be turned back on. But just watch your words too. Watch what you say. Don't accuse anybody of doing anything. Let's do better than that because we don't know what happened. And I don't really care on a personal note. I don't really care for Chris Proudfoot. I'll just be very honest. I don't really care for him at all. But that doesn't mean that he did anything to Sebastian. Just because we don't like someone doesn't mean they did something. So I just want to make that very clear also. So just be careful what you guys say. Your words do have a lot of power, and we just don't want to say anything that's that could be hurtful. Wise Gal says there wasn't a mention of some type of cave near the area. Yeah, and they searched the ones that were safe, but they couldn't search all of them. That's what we found out tonight. Great question. Charlotte said maybe Chris Proudfoot was yelling and it scared him. Yeah, if he was on the phone, it could have been. My Insane World says if he didn't have shoes on, it wouldn't take long for his little feet to get cut up, thus making it harder to keep walking. Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much to all of our mods. Our head mod is Enjaz. Our other head mod is Sixth Sense Amelia. And Jane is our other one. She's not here today, but she's here most of the other days. So thank you guys very, very much for joining me today. I am going to be doing a Brian Kohlberger. I was planning to do it tomorrow. I might put it off by one day because I need a full day just to research it. And I spent all day going through this live stream to just pull out to be able to shoot around and bring it to you and not have a, 8-hour live stream on this live stream. I just wanted to bring you guys more or less the most important parts on it. But if you haven't subscribed, please do, and be on the lookout for Brian Kohlberger. It'll probably be on Tuesday. I was originally planning to do it Monday, so I'm probably going to move that to Tuesday just so I have tomorrow to prepare and research for it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will continue to update you guys on this case. Please give this a thumbs up on the way out and let YouTube know that we are just doing wholesome, family friendly